Okay, good afternoon. I'd like to call the Commissioners' meeting of March 23rd to order. Would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and repeat following a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This meeting is being recorded, and anything said in the meeting becomes part of public record. Since the last time the Board of Commissioners met, I do not believe we have had an official executive session. That said, we spent the weekend at the County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania conference, so we obviously ran into each other a lot and talked about general ideas, but nothing that would rise to the level of an executive session. We did receive one letter that I thought was worth noting, and that had to do with the recertification of our 911 quality assurance program. FEMA sent a letter that was a rather glowing letter, I thought. We were, I believe, the first in the state to be recertified, is that correct? And they were very pleased. No findings, not even any areas of opportunity for improvement, as I recall. It's just a straight, you guys are great, so well done. Any other correspondence to bring before the public? Hearing none, I have one more announcement, which is that we intend to advertise the Warren County Intergovernmental Cooperative Ordinance, which will go out in the coming days. And then we would vote on it at the March 13th meeting. This would be to actually formalize the Council of Governments, which for 30 years or so probably has more or less been operating as a rather loose group. And through a strategic planning effort that started over a year ago, we had identified one of the key elements moving forward to actually formalize it. And so we need to do that by ordinance. And then as the other municipalities wish to join in, they can join us by resolution. This time I would ask if there's any public comment.
Since you were mentioning the other one, I thought it would be good to mention that our first town hall is coming up on April 7th. April 7th at the Warren Municipal Building. That's the first of several town halls, but I think we're going to try to do a lot to try to promote that, to get attendance there, encourage people to show up. And there will not be alcohol, Lori. She's like, no.
Could I take a survey on how many people ask about the roundabout?
I can guarantee a few things, but one of them is there will be zero discussion about the roundabout. That's probably the biggest reason to go.
Okay, well, look forward to that, as well as our series of town hall meetings. We've moved them up. Historically, we've been doing them in the summer months, but we thought that attendance might be better if we moved it up in the April-May timeframe. So I think they're all before Memorial Day, or yes, all but one maybe. So hopefully attendance will be better. All right, on the agenda today, you'll see it before you. I'm not aware of any changes that need to happen. So moving on, minutes from March 9th are in your packet. Are there any comments or corrections? Hearing none, we'll dispense with the reading. Finance report.
As of today, we have $1,777,798 in our general fund and Erie bank account. You can see the numbers for American Rescue Plan funding, ERAP funding at the bottom. Those are in separate bank accounts. We are working on several projects in our office to, still working on the cold cash report. We noticed that it needed some changes, so we're working on fixing that, and hopefully we'll have that taken care of here this week. And we're getting our audit and information out to the auditors for 2021. We're also giving a lot of information out to other agencies that need information from us, and so it feels like the start of a year, even though we're already at the end of March.
Good. Any questions? Hearing none, we'll move on to proclamations. We have 9 proclamations on the agenda today, and first has to do with Counties Matter. This is in conjunction with the National Association of Counties Local Government Month. And the theme this year is Connecting the Unconnected, which particularly resonates with us due to our broadband initiative. Simply ends, we, the commissioners, proclaim April 2022 as National County Government Month and encourage all county officials, employees, schools, and residents to participate in county government celebration activities. If anyone is looking for a tour of the county government or wants to understand the functions better, I certainly volunteer myself to give such tours and present on what the functions of county government are. Next, National Library Week. Resolved, the Warren County Commissioners proclaim National Library Week, April 3rd through the 9th. Residents are encouraged to visit their local libraries this week and beyond, exploring all the libraries that they have to offer. Remember, literacy is power. Libraries provide the fuel to move Pennsylvania forward. Finally, for me, National Telecommunicator Week. I already praised them for their recent program and how successful that's been. In conjunction with National Telecommunicator Week, we would like to also declare the week of April 10th through the 16th to be National Telecommunicator Week in Warren County in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our county and our citizens safe. Commissioner X, second chance, autism, Parkinson's.
Let's see, April will be Second Chance Month. This proclamation is related to various criminal justice initiatives and trying to provide opportunities for people who have interacted with the criminal justice system to, better their life and take another course. Very important. Second proclamation is Autism Awareness Month, which will be April. Just want to highlight for everybody that on April 7th, Lakeshore, can't remember their community services, is hosting or initiating an Autism Awareness Day, which will be held at, that's at the Days Inn, isn't it?
It's at a church.
It's at a church.
Yeah.
Is that up in North Warren?
No, I think it's Holy, I want to say it's Holy Redeemer.
It's at Holy Redeemer? Okay.
I think.
It's going to be a really wonderful event. It's the first time that they're having it since COVID because they shut it down a couple of years in a row, and it's an all-day event on the 7th. I highly recommend it. If you can't go, obviously, the whole day, that stop by and check it out. They'll have a bunch of various agencies presenting and speaking, so very good. And then the third is Parkinson's Disease Awareness Month. I don't have to explain to anyone the devastating effect of Parkinson's and a progressive disorder of the central nervous system, trying to draw attention to that and the folks that are affected by it, and trying to build awareness of their plight and the need to address it.
First proclamation here is Child Abuse Prevention Month. Of course, child abuse is a community problem, and finding solutions depend on involvement among people throughout the community. We want to commend the Children and Youth Advisory Committee, CASA of Warren Forest Counties, and the Warren County Children's Advocacy Center for providing this information to people and urge their full support. So we, the Commissioners of Warren County, hereby proclaim April as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Warren County, and we call upon all citizens, community agencies, religious organizations, medical facilities, and businesses to increase their participation in these efforts to prevent child abuse. The next one is Sexual Awareness Month. And it's intended to draw attention to the fact that sexual violence is widespread and impacts Warren County. Safe Place provides sexual support services to men, women, and children, and also provided over 330 hours of confidential crisis and supportive services and 41 24-hour hotline services to sexual assault victims, survivors in Warren County. Warren County Commissioner join advocates and communities across the country in playing an active role to prevent sexual violence. Along with the U.S. government and state of PA, we proclaim April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And then lastly, let's not forget Safe Digging Month. The month of April is recognized in Pennsylvania's 811 Safe Digging Month, where Pennsylvania 811 received close to 1 million excavation notifications in 2021 and transmitted approximately 6.7 million notifications to their facility members, owners, and operators. So the facility owners and operators dispersed to the said work site to mark the approximate location of the underground utility lines with flags, paint, or both, to establish an 18-inch tolerance zone in the outside wall or edge of the line or facility. Warren County is in support of the PA Line Protection Law, PA Act 287 of 1974, and we proclaim April 22 as Pennsylvania 811 Safe Digging Month.
Good, thank you. Department heads, was there anything you wanted to add to those proclamations or anything you want to say?
Just that on April 1st, we'll be putting pinwheels out to represent the live
I
births
have
in
that.
Warren County, and that represents the number of opportunities we have to prevent more child abuse from occurring. So for the whole month, the pinwheels will be in the courtyard, so we appreciate the use of the courtyard so that we can do that display.
Thank you. I had that highlighted and I missed it.
All right.
That's it for the proclamation. So that's April 1st, right?
Yes, April 1st, the Friday.
All right. With that, I would take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion made and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. There's no old business on the agenda. First item of business under new business, Resolution 3208. This is revision to fiscal year 2019 CDBG funds. And I would ask Lori Dunlap, the administrator, to tell us what the request is.
This is the last piece of a monitoring finding that Warren County had. The RDA was unbeknowingly expending legal fees for their attorney on items that were not eligible for CDBG funding. We were paying for legal advice on properties that were eligible for CDBG funding as demolition. And some of the properties that we had legal assistance on did not end up being demolished with CDBG funds. They were actually demolished by the owners, or the blight was remediated by the owners, which in our eyes was a very good thing and saved money, but DCED did not agree. So we had to pay back a total of $60,303.07 from the county general fund into the CDBG program. We did this over a period of 3 years, $5,400 each year. This is the last payment. And so this is just saying where the last piece of the money is going to go. We have to give it a name and put it in the projects. We're going to put it in the Bear Lake Center Street reconstruction project that will happen this summer.
Very good. Given that this is the last opportunity to, again, comment on this, I still think that that was an unjust finding on the behalf of the DCED, and that the DCED should not have an opinion on what ended up having the method, I suppose, that we ended up remediating the blight. But
It was allocated to demolition and not remediate blight.
I second that.
I also would like to say that the county was undergoing the RDA program for probably 10 years before DCED got around to monitoring us on it.
Right.
So we were kind of flying blind. And if you ask anybody at DCED about demolition and blight, you get a different answer from every person you speak to. So
right.
we were unaware.
Yep. I'm just, I guess, saying, well, we got our hands slapped. I hope that you don't personally take it as a problem because.
Well, I don't because I was flying blind. So.
All right. Very good.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I'd ask for a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next, notice to award the Center Street Stormwater Drainage Project in Clarendon. Again, already done
I'm asking the commissioners to award contract to E&M Engineers out of Bradford to do the design and construction inspection services for the stormwater project in Clarendon. This project has been in the making for a long time. In fact, so long, some of the first residents that came to us asking for help with this have passed. So we're not going to get to see this come to fruition. So this has been well needed. Every time it rains, the way the stormwater is on the street, it's undersized and it floods people's yards on both sides of the street. So, and that ends up in wet basements and such. So this will be a big help for that.
Very good. The total amount for this is $22,000. Any questions? Hearing none, I'd ask for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we have an agreement for Lawncare. The Chief Clerk, care to remind us about this?
This will be the third year that we have had ACM Contracting and Consulting taking care of our yards with the mowing and the weeding. And they've not increased the price until this contract, and it's gone up $10 per month per mow. And that's for up to 26 weekly mows. And it's not usually done each week. And then for MDJ Zidonic, it's 15 times per month.
Do you know it, Jan? Okay. Well, given the price of gas and such, it's no surprise. Very good. Any questions for Pam? Hearing none, I would ask for a motion to approve the AMC contracting consulting agreement.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, there's two Act 13 requests. The first, I'm somewhat involved with, so I will not be participating in a vote. But as it's not a legal conflict of interest, I will at least briefly describe that the Spring Creek community has a park that is across from the fire station. It's about 8 acres and was built in the 70s. Hasn't really been improved much since the 70s. The Park Association has partnered with the township to apply for several state grants totaling over $300,000. The projects include a complete overhaul of the bathrooms to make them, first of all, working, and second of all, compliant with modern code. Second, a nature path, given that many of the residents in the community are not children anymore. We would probably use some walking paths through the woods more than playground equipment. However, would update some of the playground equipment as well as add canoe and kayak launch to the Broken Straw Creek. So I've been very proud of the community for coming together over the recent months to come up with this plan. And with that, I will ask if there is a motion to approve the CDBG, the Act 13 request.
So I will make the motion to approve. The amount requested is $15,000, and it is, and the match would be $306,000. Total project cost is estimated to be $321,585. So while there's a request for the Act 13 monies, the amount is fairly small compared to the size of the project. So I laud also, as you say, Ben, the community for coming together and working on grants to improve that particular area. So I'll make the motion to approve $15,000.
I'll second.
Motion made and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
And then I'll abstain. Next, we have a request from the TDUs for their Heart and Soul match. Commissioner Eggleston has been intimately involved in this project, so I'll ask him to give us an update.
Yeah, so I can't say enough good things about the folks in TID Youth that are coming together for this and other projects. The Heart and Soul program has allowed them to do a great deal of planning and redevelopment downtown. I think that they're very excited about the project and how it's going to bear fruit for them to kind of turn the corner in TID Youth and really redefine the downtown. So our match in this case is $12,500. This is for the second, this is to help fund the second year of the planning process. I think it's vital that they're able to continue this planning process so that they can finish revitalizing their community center and the businesses downtown. So I highly recommend the support of the commissioners on this request.
Very good. Any questions? And then do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve the amount requested of $12,500 for the TID Youth project.
I'll second. And I would just add that TID Youth is one of 2 communities in the county that has this program. Youngsville's the other one. And I can't remember how many are in the state.
6.
Yeah, so they worked really hard to get this down, and I think that they would say that it's been a huge benefit to them.
I would add that when I was down in Harrisburg this weekend, I met with Deputy Secretary Rick Filello, and he was telling me about this project and how exciting it was. And frankly, he was very proud of Warren County for both applications, but really they put in a lot of effort, and the state's noticed. It was neat. Any more discussion? Forgive me, there was a motion. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, next, resolution number 2,207. Commissioner Eggleston, I assume this would be one of yours. Human Services funding?
Yeah, so in 2022, and even last year, I believe, but this year especially, the County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania has made increased human services funding their top priority to advocate at the state level. What they're essentially pushing for is county-based dollars to be increased. There's a variety of services that this funding supports, most of which are critical care situations, folks that are, kind of, I don't want to say in a donut hole, but are in a situation where they haven't yet been approved for other services, or they're, due to the nature of their situation, it isn't available to them. So that could include, rapid housing. It's especially important for our funding of, forensic case management and making sure to keep people out of critical care situations, help them, rehabilitate themselves, and a number of other things. So, as a part of CCAP's effort, we drafted this resolution. This is in support of their initiative to advocate for funding at the state level. As you've seen in the newspapers recently, the state is in a position to grant this if they so choose. And so the goal is to try to really get counties, municipalities, and others on board with kind of pushing in this direction. We've seen an increase in 302s dramatically, like a 60% increase in folks, getting, I don't know what the technical term is, basically having to receive a level of critical care due to their condition. We've seen an increase in suicide. We've seen an increase in mental health referrals. We've seen an increase in delays in service due to the level of service requested. So this is a really important, vital situation that we support and push for in order to address that. Obviously, the pandemic has had a huge effect on that. So there's a variety of reasons to support this. But with that said, I asked Julie Lackey, our mental health director, and also, and I don't even know actually what your technical term is, but I would say.
It is.
Yeah, and then also Meredith Ketchum, our children and youth director, to come in and from Human Services to speak on behalf of this resolution.
So I'll just add to what Commissioner Eggleston said of the different services that we use mental health-based funding for people who are uninsured and other services that are not covered by a managed care or community care through the medical assistance program. We pulled some numbers, we served approximately 650 to 700 individuals in the fiscal year July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021. Some of those services include family-based for children, multi-systemic therapy for children. We do fund some mental health slots at the Barber National Institute at BEI for the Adult Development Training Program. House support services through Beacon Light, and also through our EOC, Economic Opportunity Council, for the housing program there. Representative payee services are also county-based funded. Transportation that we utilize through Beacon Light. Outpatient services. We also have a room and board contract for one of our residential treatment facilities for children, as well as community residential rehabilitation host home for foster care for kids. It's a more enhanced foster care program. And then respite services for children. We've also used county funding to include funding for some camps. We don't get a big pot of money for that, so to increase that would be fantastic. And crisis services for our mobile crisis, the new program that we're bringing into the county. And what that's going to look like, we're not sure yet, since we haven't been up and running. So,
the only thing I can really add to that is that the increase in funding would help then support what we do, because in this county, a lot of the services that we provide to our families are the mental health community-based services, and increasing the funds would increase our ability to refer and keep more children at home than we're currently able to do, because we're lacking some of the funding, and some of it's ending up falling on children and youth and juvenile probation, and then unfortunately children are ending up in placement instead of getting the help that they need in the community, and then they're involved with us as well as being removed from the community. So an increase would assist in keeping children in the community and providing more community services.
Very good, thank you.
Need to make a motion to support resolution 3207.
I'll second.
Excuse me. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Next, there's an agreement with Armor. This will be for the fire sprinkler inspection. Pam, do you have any details on that?
Just a renewal of their contract
Oh, it is renewal, okay.
to make sure our sprinklers are working.
Okay, that's
That's
a
kind of
quarterly.
important.
It's kind of important, yeah. It's quarterly, done, I believe, for, let's see, $615 for each inspection, et cetera, et cetera. Very good. Any questions? Is there a motion to approve the agreement with Armor?
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement with Armor.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, I see the Department of Public Safety guys needed to leave suddenly, seconds before we talked about their item. But
Did they know the item was on?
they did, they had an emergency. This is, I believe, a series of quotes from Northwest Services in order to do annual inspection and maintenance on 4 tower site generators that we have. Any, Lisa or Pam, do either of you have any more details you wanted to add?
This is a 2-year service contract. and the prices did not increase from last year.
Good. So it's $380 per site, I believe. Oh, there's 1,170. Oh, so that's the big one at the 911 center itself. Okay, any questions? I hear a motion to approve the agreement with Northwest Service in order to inspect the generators.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion. All those in favor, please state aye.
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 Motion carries. Very good. Any commissioner comments? So, say we just got back from CCAP, there's a lot of good classes. I went to one particularly on CPACE and rolling that out, which I thought was beneficial. There was good discussions and things to learn from other counties about broadband.
Yeah, there was Greene County actually has an active broadband program going on, and so we're going to reach out to them and ask them for some of the information, RFP items, and some other documents that they've created in order not to recreate the wheel, if that's the intention and the way that we want to go. The other thing that I did attend was an ARPA, how to spend ARPA funds, and Lycoming County had some interesting matrix which had certain qualifications for projects to be approved, and one of them has to do with the fact that it needs to be generational, which I thought was quite interesting, meaning that whatever project comes along is not only going to benefit the current generation but future ones. So I thought that was interesting. There were like 5 key elements. There are two other counties created a community survey and offered like 3 options for emphasis using those dollars. One county said that they were intending to spend it on improvements countywide as it relates to bricks and mortar. So all of them had ideas. None of them except for one had really executed on any of it. There's some hesitation as it relates to broadband with what funds are going to come with the new Build Back Better plan. And so everyone's kind of waiting to see if this is a match opportunity or if it's a time to execute on projects. So it was pretty interesting for that. It's like lively discussion as well.
Well, that was good to hear too, because we're told by people that, oh, the other counties have all found ways to spend their money and allocated it all, and that's just not the case.
I think
talked to others, we were right in line.
Right. I believe Lebanon County has a plan together to spend it all, and one of them was using a Rails to Trails match, $400,000 to improve some of their trails, which included the ability for rescue vehicles to be able to utilize it if there was an issue with a roadway.
Interesting.
I believe Elk County, I think I had read a headline that Elk County had planned to spend some of their money on a prison rehabilitation, and they actually pulled the plug on that. They held off on it in the last meeting last month, yeah.
We talked about that. I went to another class on the new upcoming SURE system. This would be the election system that would house all voter registration. One interesting thing to note is that they're building into their new portal local races as well. So we would, in theory, even on local township races, for instance, just be able to direct people to the state website to find the results rather than just finding statewide or state-related election results. And then I also went to one on GIS mapping. I was rather comforted to find that our 911 system and GIS department have already pretty well integrated everything and we've done everything that the state has asked of us, so we were pretty ahead of the curve, frankly, compared to most of the other counties in the room. As it pertains to our data sharing between counties and the state related to GIS and our use of it and our preparation for next generation 911. So that was all good, but mostly good just to find that we don't need to do anything more. Any other comments?
I got to attend a panel on assessment that lasted 2 hours. It was stirring. It was just muy bueno. Didn't drink 2 gallons of coffee before that.
Did you leave feeling revitalized?
Yeah. I left feeling like it shocks me how passionate people are about assessment and, and the law related to it and policy. And I asked I grilled them pretty hard. I was the last person standing. I didn't live it.
You're the reason it was 2 hours.
I forgot to mention I'm the one who's passionate. Yeah, no, they didn't. They basically like cut me off. Like they kept asking questions about stuff. But I actually need to type up notes from that and send it to you because there were things related to policy, like related to like the questions we've had about notifying people or not notifying people or how you notify the public and those types of things. So that was very good. The one, actually my favorite panel of the whole thing was they had the first panel on integrating the arts into redevelopment. And I went there mostly because the other 2 panels at the same time I already kind of knew a bit about, and I just took a flyer on it. It was fascinating. It was way better than I thought it would be.
That would be fun to hear about.
Yeah, they had projects, for instance, in Corey with Chuck that they had that were really neat, and then they had a bunch that were regional that they showed where they had matched, like their funding is one of the few fundings you can match with state funding. So like if you integrate them into it, they can help fundraise for your project, and at the same time the outcome's better because there's this like creative element to it. So the projects were really quite interesting.
The funding entities.
It's the Council of the Art in the Arts or whatever. It's a state. It's some part of the state, but for whatever reason they started listing all the different funding agencies that they partner with, and they're one of the few streams where you can actually partner with other like DCD, DCNR, like all of them. And I mean, it's not like they've got like mountains of cash, but they have some, and for a lot of the projects it was pretty neat how we could collaborate with them.
Okay, so interesting. All right, well.